We are going to put in a test client so that you guys can see how the child support calculator works in Florida. As for you to look as we are going through this today is this section up here at the top, which shows what the amount of child support owed is. You will also see that the number of children makes a difference. For purposes of today, we are just going to simply use 2 children. You will notice that it wants both of the children's initials as well as the children's date of birth. That is important because the child support is going to be impacted as each child turns an older year. It is important that we have the child's date of birth because once a child is no longer a minor, the child support is going to change. You will also see that there is a section for overnights, and that is because overnights makes a big difference in terms of your child support calculation. It is important to put the correct number of overnights into the formula. If it is 50-50 time sharing, each parent would have 182.5 overnights. You can see that at this point in time, the child support is 0 because we do not have any income information in. The next piece that you're going to see is the filing status. Most of the time, it's going to be head of household for each person, but sometimes it is not head of household if the person does not have 50% of the time sharing and do not have any other children living in the home. Then you're going to need to enter the gross wages. We will say that Jim is making $5,000 a month gross and that Nancy is making $6,000 a month gross. You can see immediately that once those numbers are plugged in, suddenly Nancy owes child support because her income is higher than Jim's income. Next up, you will see that there are places to put in other income that could potentially be coming into play. Social Security benefits, for example, rental income or in-kind income. So if there are additional places for income, it would go in here. Next, you're going to see the parent and the child's total health insurance per month. We'll say that Jim pays this and that it's $300 total, and of that, $100 of it is for the children. Let's say that Nancy pays her own health insurance and it's $200 a month. Once those numbers are plugged in, you will see that the child support goes up for Nancy. That is because she owes a portion of this child amount of health insurance. It is also because her gross income is getting reduced by $200 while Jim's is getting reduced by $300. Next, you will see the alimony section. Alimony is important because it is considered income for purposes of child support. If one of the parties was getting alimony, you would want to enter that here. And for purposes of displaying it, I will show you that if Nancy was getting, or if Jim was getting $500 a month from Nancy, then the child support by Nancy actually goes up. I'm sorry, the child support by Nancy goes down because now Jim has $500 a month than he had before, and Nancy has $500 less than she had before. All of these numbers are going to make a big difference. Let's remove the alimony for now so that I can show you what happens when your overnights change. With 50-50 overnights, and we'll say at this point that Nancy and Jim make the same amount of money per month, and that Jim is paying the $100 a month for health insurance for the party's child, and they're each paying their own health insurance, which is in essence the same amount, $200 for Nancy and $200 for Jim. At that point, Nancy owes $111 per month. But if Nancy had the majority of the time sharing, let's say that she has 210 overnights a year, and that Jim has 155 overnights a year, then you will see that it changes, and now Jim owes $123 a month, and Nancy does not owe anything. Now, if instead Jim had 210 overnights a year and Nancy had 155 overnights a year, then Nancy owes child support of $201 per month. That is a general idea of how all of these factors impact child support calculations in Florida.